What is going on, guys? I'm J2005 Gundam here, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys my top 5 kits of 2020 plus 2 honorable mentions. Now, last year hasn't been a good year, as everybody knows, but we do have some pretty good kits that were released from 2020. Now, same rules do apply as last year, apart from one which I'm going to be loosening up. So first of all, of course, premium is included, because a lot of kits are premium nowadays and I can care less about their status. Second of all, I have to have built them in order to include them on the list. So anything like the Perfect Grade Unleashed Granddaddy Gundam is not going to be included. And third of all, it is going to be one variant per kit. Like, if you don't know what I mean, there are a lot of core Gundam variants that have released this year. I'm only going to be including one of them just in case I don't flood the list with every single one of them in case they make the list. So with those rules out of the way, we can get into the list. Starting us off at number 5, we have the high-grade Iron-Blooded Orphans Hajiroboshi. Now, this surprised me pleasantly, just because I built the Marcosius, it wasn't really that good of a kit. That kit was on the bad list, actually. But the Hajiroboshi being a variant of the Marcosius, it definitely does top it a lot. Sure, the weapons could look a little bit dinky and the crab shield could use a little bit more color separation, but overall it's just a Gundam frame that can stay together, like the first one of them, in fact, because of all of the improvements to my copy, at least, because it doesn't fall apart in the torso and anything else. The polycons are perfectly tight, and of course you can maneuver it whichever way you want without it falling apart. Plus, the moving hardpoint on the arms is just the icing on the cake, and I really do like the kit for that, on top of the basic things I do like about it, including the looks. So this is a pretty simple kit that has pretty simple gimmicks, but so far still manages to impress. Next up at number 4, we do have the king of stock footage himself, the high-grade Gundam Heavyarms TV version. Now, I was a little bit hesitant to put this kit on the list, just because it doesn't really bring too much to the table realistically, but what it brings to the Gunpla community is very symbolic, because it is a fan favorite design that people have been clamoring for Bandai to make into a kit of any grade. But not only that, it is the first time in 25 years that we have seen the Heavyarms TV version be made into a kit of any grade, and the high grade does really deliver on that front. The silhouette itself, it is spot on, although people have been a little bit controversial about the yellow that is used in the Heavyarms, and the functions are all there: color separated Gatling cannons, missiles, light missiles, and of course you do have a semi-rotating barrel if you do force it to rotate, and of course pretty good color separation overall. But the flaws are like the blue detail on the chest. They shouldn't really be using protruding parts if they're going to be using stickers, or if they're going to be using protruding parts, I really think they should use plastic pieces instead of having a sticker those over the protruding triangles. But also the inner sides of the vents are not great if you're anal about that. Personally, I don't mind, but overall this kit with its symbol to the Gunpla community, this deserves number 4 on my list. Plus, it does still have the heaviest arms thus far in the high-grade Wing Gundam kits, so that's a plus. Next up on the list, at number 3, we have to dig deep into our backyard burrows in order to find the blueprints of this kit. It is going to be the high-grade TR1 Hyzenthlay. Now, I never expected this thing to come up this high on the list, but this kit is a wow factor to me in this year's releases, because I fully expected them to actually reuse the entire TR1 Hazel and plaster the new parts onto it and just call it a day. Little did I know, they did actually improve upon the articulation and the engineering of the TR1 by giving it advanced joints. Sure, the leg articulation is a little bit hampered, and of course the face could have used a little bit of a facelift just because the design looks a little bit outdated just by using new parts. But overall, this kit, with the new engineering, it does really stand its ground on the list. Plus, even though with the new armaments, it is pretty easy to maneuver it about, unlike what was actually produced in the Universal Century. So, I will absolutely recommend you guys to pick this kit up if you are interested. Next up at number 2, we find ourselves at the zoo, face to face with the high-grade Gundam Anima Rise. Now, the glaring problem of previous core Gundams, their structural integrity, because all of the armor pieces apart from the chest are prone to falling off, especially the shoulders and the skirts. And along came the Eurovan Gundam with the loosest manipulators I've ever seen. But the release of the Gundam Anima Rise fixed everything for that kit. Plus, of course, it does have a pretty unique look with the faceplate and armor design of a beast, and pretty unique looking weapons. Despite it being from the generic Gundam loadouts, it does allow for this kit to look very unique. But the issues were the loose beams inside of the beam saber handle, and of course the rifle extension not being as tight as I'd like it to be. But apart from those issues, this is still the best core Gundam I have ever had in my collection. But it still doesn't top the next kit, which is done justice infinitely, the high-grade Cosmic Era Infinite Justice Gundam. Now I know on the surface it's just a major rehash of the Justice Knight that we've got from last year, but this thing still manages to blow my mind out of the water. The paint that it went for looks fantastic. The silver sheen on the metallic frame, never expected them to do that, let alone on a regular retail release. The color separation has reared its head in again to make this kit look fantastic with the Infinite Justice colors, and of course the pinpoint accurate silhouette. I just can't get enough of that. And that's only on the base Gundam, the Fatimo 1. No stickers whatsoever for its construction, very nice. And of course you do have easy to deploy beam blades and swiveling turrets to allow for clearance for when the booster is shifted up, because Atherin prefers it that way for some reason. And of course the accessories, they are pretty good, pretty well color separated. All the features of the beam carry shield are included in the shield, thank the Lord. And overall they do what they are supposed to do and look fantastic while doing so. But the major downsides of this kit are it's using a non-polycap frame. While it does contribute to the sturdiness of the kit, it doesn't allow for compatibility with any other kit that doesn't use a non-polycap frame. Second of all, the specifically made beam saber beams for this kit, and of course you do have the dinky looking beam boomerang beam. I feel like the old high grade has the edge on that for once. Now, apart from that, this kit is just fantastic, and I would absolutely recommend anybody who is getting into Gunpla to pick one of these up, because it is just the best thing that I've built in 2020. But there are some honorable mentions that I will gloss over right now, starting off with the Juristus Sinistro Dictus. Now, I never expected this thing to even be a thing in actual canon Gundam, let alone be a model kit. Now, while Bandai did translate that design into a model kit, they actually did a pretty good job at it. They provided it with good color separation, like splitting all the colors down the middle, which is pretty nice, including the mask. And then they did give it pretty decent amounts of articulation, which is very nice. They can bend forward while not hampering the backwards movement of the legs. And finally, they did provide it with a smooth transformation, but they do need to parse from some parts which are necessary, which I will not complain. And of course, they did also provide it with 4 beam scythe effects, just to simulate the beam claw and mobile armor mode, which is very generous of them. But the one downside is that the axe has no color separation whatsoever, and it feels kind of redundant, considering that you have all the features that the Dictus already packs, while the hand of the Dictus cannot really hold onto the axe too securely on itself. But regardless of that, this is still a pretty good kit that will want you guys to pick up, but beware of the price though, because due to the glossy coating and the premium tag, it is going to cost you quite an arm and a leg for a high grade. And then last but not least, we do have the Windom as the second honorable mention. Now, this is the first time we are seeing the Windom as a model kit, and I have to say, just like the Heavyarms, the model kit absolutely delivers. The pinpoint accurate proportions, the pretty decent color separation on the main body, and of course you do have the fine build mechanics that provides a very good amount of articulation, even though the arm only has one joint. And the accessories do look pretty unique among a lot of the other kits that have just standard looking accessories, like standard looking beam rifle and a shield that does nothing but defend. And of course you do have the jet pack that does allow for customization, and of course you can utilize the striker system to your own heart's content. Shame that the color separation on the jetpack isn't really that good. Most of the colors are made out of stickers, by the way. So yeah, that's a little bit of a shame, but overall the Windom is absolutely one kit I would recommend for you guys. But the one reason I didn't put it up higher on the list, it didn't really stick with me that well, but that is just a subjective opinion. So that is going to wrap it up for the top 5 kits of 2020 plus 2 honorable mentions. But as I did say, this list only consists of kits I've already built, so you guys will have some modifications to make to this if you feel like something I haven't built deserves the top 5 spots more than what I've mentioned. So please tell me in the comments below what you think about the list, and also how you will modify the list if you have built something that I haven't built in the year. So that's going to wrap it up for me. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you did like it, please be sure to drop a like, comment, and also subscribe for more gunplay reviews, gunplay news, and all that kind of stuff. Subscribe to the featured channels on my channel page if you haven't, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.